Continue our conversation here, Ms. Farringer, and give you an opportunity to talk about some of the things that you'd like to talk about, and we'll allow Ms. Grumman to bring us some information in reference to how some of the issues dealing with elder abuse can be reported. Let's start with you.
Okay, I think one thing I would emphasize is maybe there's some people out there who say, well, I don't have any elderly parents or relatives, I don't work with any elderly people, it doesn't affect me, but all of us have neighbors, and really, in a sense, the neighbors are the front line of defense. They see this person every day. They see if their habits have changed. If there's an elderly person who was pretty friendly, who went out and walked, went places, and all of a sudden they're just staying in their home. They're not talking to anyone anymore. There could be many reasons for that, but one of them could be because they're being abused. That kind of withdrawal is a real sign of elder abuse. So neighbors are going to see that. If they start losing weight, is it because they don't have the money to buy food, or is it that someone is withholding food, or they're self-neglect and not eating? So I think we all have to think of ourselves as neighbors of someone that may be being abused, and that's important.
And Ms. Grumman, I think you've got some information dealing with methods whereby people might be able to report instances of elder abuse and et cetera. Let's talk about it from that perspective, and how they might be able to help you and Ms. Farringer do what you have to do.
This is the number for Adult Protective Services. This is a statewide toll-free number that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. After hours, I do believe it goes to voicemail, but someone will handle the phone call the next day. And the 1-800 number is 888-277-8366. 888-277-8366. And that's in order to make a report to Adult Protective Services. I also wanted to mention to be vigilant within your church community, within your religious, faith-based community. If you aren't seeing your older congregates there anymore on Sundays, if they sort of disappear after a few weeks, try to find out what's happening to those folks. There's a reason why they're not coming anymore, and so it might be a good idea to do a little investigation yourself to see.
Now your organization is a local supported organization by the metropolitan government, is that right?
It is not.
It is not?
We are a private nonprofit. Mental Health America, we're an affiliate of a larger national Mental Health America, and we are an affiliate for Middle Tennessee. We have an aging and Alzheimer's program, so we can provide caregiver support groups. We can provide free in-home caregiver education and training. We do educational presentations to both family members as well as healthcare professionals and senior service providers throughout the 13 Middle Tennessee counties, and all of our services are free of charge. So Mental Health America's number is 615-269-5355.
Now, is there a local component of elder abuse? I mean, is there something that the metropolitan government is doing, or is your organization the only organization within the government that deals with the elder population?
No, there's Adult Protective Services locally here, and then the Tennessee Vulnerable Adult Coalition, which is a statewide coalition, has regional coalitions, and the Elder Abuse Initiative group that meets locally may turn into one of those local groups here in Nashville.
And so this, Ms. Farringer?
Yeah, I was going to add that there also, we haven't mentioned the ombudsman, and that's not a word we use all the time. But the ombudsman is funded by the Area Agency on Aging, which is a government agency. But they particularly are on the lookout for abuse in facilities, assisted living, homes for the aged, nursing homes. And so if your loved one or a friend is in one of those facilities and you suspect there being some abuse, you can call that ombudsman, and they can kind of pave the way for an investigation to happen. So that's also Metro government has just recommended the establishment of an Office of Public Guardian, which I think will assist this effort. And also they're making some headway on a kind of addressing domestic violence, and elder abuse will come under that umbrella too. So we're hopeful that the word is going to get out more. Another point that I would make, I can picture some overworked, tired caregivers at home that are caring for an elderly person and sometimes just getting so frustrated they feel, I could hit her. And we don't want them to despair. Caregiving is a very, very difficult job, but there are things that can help that caregiver. There are support groups, there are different services. The Council on Aging publishes a directory of services for seniors that's free. They can pick a copy up at branches of the public library. So let them get that book that describes some services that might be able to help them and not feel so overwhelmed.
And so we think that over the last 3 minutes we have, let's make an assessment. We can say that elder abuse is a real problem from a local point of view or from a governmental point of view, and that
Absolutely.
we all ought to be more aware of what is going on around us. And is that what we're saying?
We should, and part of what our committee is kind of coming to the conclusion of is there's a need for some materials for the general public, and the YWCA has an excellent brochure for the general public, but we think law enforcement needs to know a little bit more on what are the signs of elder abuse, what do I do if I suspect elder abuse, how do I handle it through the law enforcement system. Medical professionals need this, everything from therapists to people in emergency rooms. They need to know what are the signs and what do I do if I suspect it. We had a discussion today that bank personnel certainly can suspect financial abuse, but they need to know what do I do if I suspect it. So
it would appear to me over the last minute and a half that we have here that these organizations and these services ought to already have that kind of information and be working with that.
And I think they do have some, but maybe not so much tailored just to their particular profession, and maybe it's not what they need. So we're trying to ask. We're asking banks and law enforcement and medical professionals, what do you need? Do you need training? Do you need speakers? Do you need a list of the signs of elder abuse, or is it that you need to know what to do if I suspect elder abuse?
Very good. And of course, the last statements, Ms. Grumman, in reference to this, we've got about a minute and a half in reference to that.
Well, just recently, the Tennessee State Legislature did pass some legislation forming an elder abuse task force with a number of members that will be making a report to the Tennessee State Legislature in January of 2015. So it's obviously on their radar screen, and I think hopefully we'll see more and more services in the future.
And so many things, good things are happening in terms of dealing with the elder population in the state of Tennessee. And your organization and the other state organizations simply represent part of what is going on, but the two of you look toward the organization having a greater reach within some of the areas, law enforcement and et cetera,
Right.
that they are not currently actively involved in. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, and they want to be. They want to, but they're busy. And they need to have the correct information.
Very good. Let me thank the two of you for coming by and giving us that excellent information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.
Imitation game. All coming up